Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about 2023 goal setting. Happy New Year. Happy freaking New Year. It's beautiful. I'm so pumped and ready for 2023. I can't tell you why. I think 2022 was just such a standstill for me. I mean, I got engaged, I got married, which I'm very grateful for. We moved into a new apartment. But that's what 2022 was. It was just transition after transition after transition. And I am ready for some stability, but also some growth in other areas of my life, like work and like my own personal health and my own personal mental health, spiritual health. Like I'm ready for some serious growth in 2023. So I'm so excited for that. That being said, I feel like it's only fair for me to share with you how I goal set because I feel like it's super practical, super actionable, and I feel bad not to share it. I think everybody deserves to have access to practical, real goal setting. Plug in my laptop. So often we hear people just kind of say foo-foo things like, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z this year, and it's hard to make it come to fruition. I talk to clients all the time about this. They have these goals, they cannot implement them day to day. And this is how I goal set so that it's easy for me to implement day to day. I did talk about it a little bit on my Instagram stories, but it's so hard to grasp, I think, big concepts sometimes on something as quick as a 1-minute story. So I'm going to dive a little deeper. I'm going to keep it short enough, but dive a little deeper here with you guys today. So this year I'm using something called GPS. My notebook. My notebook is in the office and David's working in the office. He's on a meeting right now, so I'm not going to go get it. GPS is, and I'll just put up a slide here actually, goals, priorities, and strategies. Okay, so we write down our big overarching goals. So I typically have like a spiritual health goal, a work goal, maybe a health goal, physical health goal, or that overlaps with kind of like food, nutrition. Those goals will overlap. So I'll have 3 goals written out in 3 different areas of my life, at least. And then I'll have my priorities. P is for priorities. It's most important to me with those goals, right? And then my S is for strategies. So what are the strategies I'm gonna actually take every single day to get there? Or what are the big overarching strategies that I'm gonna use this year to achieve that overarching goal, okay? So I write this down really just one time in my personal notebook and my personal journal. I write down kind of the big yearly plan for myself or the yearly goal for myself. Let's say I want to increase my revenue for work. I really don't want to think about that number every single day. Like if I'm thinking about today, which is January 6th, my revenue goal for the end of December of this year. So for virtually 11 months away. I mean, I'm not even a quarter of the way there right now, right? That goal feels so far. So instead of thinking about that big goal, I write it down, I know it, it's always in the back of my head. But instead of thinking about that every single moment of every single day and being overwhelmed by it, I actually want to think about my broken down actions. So I write down my GPS in my notebook, but my actions, I write down where I can see it every single day. And that's on my massive calendar. Down my goals into daily actions, okay? So let's say here, right? Daily actions. My workouts were really bad in 2022, very inconsistent. So this is something I'm writing down. My work was really inconsistent last year. Definitely fell short just because of everything else going on with life. So I'm getting really clear on what I'm doing on what days. Spiritual health, this is prayer, right? Something I've never been consistent with, and I am 100% going to be consistent with it this year. So that's written down every single day. These are my actions that I want to do every single day to help me reach overarching goals that are not written here. I could write them probably up in the corner, but this is what I need to focus on, because if I can focus on this stuff every day, I'm so much closer to hitting my actions. This DFE, that stands for distraction-free eating. I got this off center now. And that for me means a couple of different things. And really that's just a short little thing that I can write on my calendar. That's how I chose to label it. But really it's like something, let's say you have a 10-pound weight loss goal. For me, like I wouldn't hate to trend down 5 pounds, but I know that, okay, so if by the end of the year I want to be 5 pounds less, which is not a big deal. It's not the end of the world, but I want that confidence in my body. I don't want to think about losing 5 pounds in 12 months, even though it's probably not that difficult when you think about it that way. I'm giving myself a full 12 months. But the action I know personally for me is distraction-free eating. That's going to help that happen. I eat pretty well, balanced meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But if I'm eating dinner alone on a Wednesday night while I'm watching TV, you never know what can happen. how long I'm gonna want that eating experience to last, right? Dinner, oh, that was good, but I wasn't paying attention and the show's still on, so I'm gonna go get a snack, I'm gonna go get a whatever. So I'm identifying the action that I need to complete every day so that I can better achieve my goal. For some people, that might be calorie counting. That might be having a balanced lunch every single day. That might be eating lunch every single day. You know, what my clients do is take photos of food and they follow kind of my practical path eating plan, create their own path that they choose to follow every day. So maybe they can check on path or off path, right, every single day. You'll notice I have an X somewhere yesterday on distraction-free eating because I ate lunch while I was scrolling on my phone. So not every day, even though we have a consistency calendar, you're not going to check the box every single day. And my distraction-free eating, so again, just an example of how you write it out on the calendar, it doesn't have to be perfect. So like distraction-free eating for me is specifically when I'm alone. I don't mind if I'm watching a show with my husband and we're having dinner together while we're watching because of my habits, behaviors, and tendencies. So those are personal things. So anyways, I'm diving way too deep into that for you. But as an example of what your actions written down, they don't need to be perfect. They just have to be clear enough for you, right? They don't have to make sense to anybody else. I think that's why I'm over explaining mine, because it almost doesn't make sense to anybody else because it's so specific. I know exactly what I mean by it, and that's all that matters. You need to know exactly what you mean by it. And I like giving them like, you know, little letters, because if this calendar is going to be sitting out in front of everybody or someone's going to come over and walk past it, I prefer it to be kind of ambiguous. I don't want anybody to know what it is or to sit there and ask me like, what does distraction-free eating mean? And me have to pour out my heart as to what that means to them, even though I'm going to pour it out to you on YouTube, because why the heck not? But, so that's the consistency calendar. Now, what I said is, not every day you're going to hit every box, right? Some days you're going to give yourself an X. Here's what we do about that. So you see your day at a glance every single day, right? So if I write this down for the entire week and I wake up on a Wednesday morning, I see my day at a glance. I see what my workout's gonna be. I see that I definitely have to pray 5 times a day, not on my period or anything like that. I see that it's a content recording day. I should have planned for this yesterday, and you know, distraction-free eating, whatever. Maybe it's Friday morning. I see that I didn't do that yesterday, so I wanna be super intentional about doing that today, right? Morning, I see my day at a glance. In the evening, reflect and check off what I did or did not do. This is how I only planned out 1 week. I only want to plan out 1 week at a time because I want to allow myself room to adapt. And this is a paper calendar, so I need to allow myself room to adapt. Now, I know there are some things I'm going to want to stay the same, right? I'm definitely going to want my steps to remain consistent. I'm going to want my prayer to remain consistent. Those are things that I'm not going to want to change. But what might change is I might realize, you know, this workout schedule actually didn't work for me and I'd rather do legs on Mondays. So I'm giving myself like the flexibility to just do a trial week and then change that if I have to. I might say, right now I work on my program on Tuesdays. I might say like, I need more days to do that. So I write that into my calendar another day of the week, right? So that way I can reassess on my blank week and write that in. So I intentionally only plan 1 week at a time, so that I can do that. And then see how down here where I'm gonna be out of town. So I want the flexibility to then adjust maybe my step goal for those 3 days that I'm out of town. I don't want to hold myself to unrealistic standards sometimes if it's not realistic. So just want to give myself the flexibility there. And then, I haven't done this yet, but what I will do, these are just some YouTube ideas, what I will do is one of my empty boxes at the bottom, I will have a tally up of the total amount of days that I hit my consistency goals. So I'll have my step goal, my workout, my prayer goal, my work goal, and my distraction for eating. And I'll tally up how many days I was consistent and hit those things. And then I want to just, the next month after, I would like to exceed that. So let's say 20 days in January, I distraction-free ate, right? Well, then the month after, I would love to hit 21. Let's say I was consistent with what I said I would do at work for 18 days. The month after, I would love for that to be 22, right? I can reflect on what went right, what went wrong, and what I want to do better just by seeing that all tallied up in front of me. And then the next month, I can kind of reassess, write out my week 1 of month 1 goals, actionable goals, right? Not the big overarching goal, but my actionable daily goals. I give myself flexibility to change them as the months go on, as the weeks go on, to adapt to different things, right? Like if I rolled an ankle in February, I'm going to have to adjust my step goal or my movement goal and maybe do something different, right? But at least that way I don't feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm just readjusting, I'm adapting. And I think that the big problem with New Year's goals is if you're not perfect, you feel like you failed, right? But by doing something like this and giving yourself the flexibility, the chance, the need to reassess weekly and monthly, you're giving yourself kind of this place to really never fail, but to continue to adapt with yourself. And I think that's really important or to fail, right? Maybe you get 0 days of distraction for eating 1 month and you're like, wow, that sucked. That wasn't intended. And that feels like a failure to you. Maybe it is a failure, whatever, call it what it is. You still get to reflect, adjust, and readapt month 2, the month after. Okay, I feel like that was really fast, but I also feel like I'm done. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the way that I goal set. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with somebody that it could help. It helps me. And if the information I'm giving you happens to help somebody else, why not share it with them? You know what I mean? That's it. Stick around for the next one, because one of my 2023 goals is to be more consistent here, and I'm serious about it this year. I say that every year. Whatever.